back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle. Here for us today, Aaron and Joe. Guns ahead, guys.
Hi.
Alright, in this video, we'll be doing our Week 16 edition of our NFL weekly predictions. But before we get started, let's go ahead and go over the results of last week. So, last week, a lot of differently picked games, and somehow it didn't really matter. Me and Aaron both finishing 12-3, so I made up zero ground last week. Aaron's currently sitting at 149-58. I'm at 144-63. And then Joe just finishing one game back of us last week, finishing 11-4. He's now 141-66. So with 3 weeks left to play, it's definitely an uphill battle for me and Joe. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe we can get lucky and stop finishing tied with Aaron for once.
And if you like our content, be sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think.
All right, let's go ahead and get into this week's predictions. So, starting off with our Thursday night football matchup, we got an AFC West battle between the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers that could be a huge impact in both of these teams' playoff chances, but more so the Chargers, because the Broncos sitting at 9-5 now. They've really got to kind of just lose out to miss the playoffs at this point, whereas the Chargers, they kind of got to win at least 2 out of 3 here. Gonna be a pretty close game, I would think. Bo Nix is coming off a 3-interception game, but he did throw 3 touchdowns, so at least he kind of combated that with some good stuff as well. Meanwhile, the Chargers just got beat down by the Buccaneers in a fashion that hasn't been seen since the Vietnam War. And to be quite frank, I just don't know if they're going to be able to bounce back from that against a division rival that seems to, despite even some mistakes here and there, be playing their best football right now. Really, I think their only loss the last 3 weeks is against the Chiefs on the blocked field goal. I could be mistaken, but I know that they've won a lot of games the second half of the season. Bo Nix is really kind of shaped into form. I think the Broncos' defense is just playing a little bit better right now, especially with the Chargers coming off giving up 40 to the Bucs. So I'm going to go the Broncos in this game. I think that defense is going to be able to hold the Chargers to under 28 points. And I think the Broncos could possibly score 30 if the Chargers play defense like they did last week. So a little bold, but I'm going to go Broncos here.
The Broncos have won 4 straight.
Okay, yeah. So
their last loss was
the Chiefs block field goal, and I didn't realize it was that long ago.
If you look back at yeah, I mean they've got a good win against the Bucs. But other than that,
beat the shit out of the Chargers.
That's really it. I mean, they've lost to every good team that they played. Lost to Seahawks, Steelers, Chargers earlier on, Ravens and Chiefs. So, maybe not as good as their record would suggest. Kind of winning games that they should, obviously, but not quite getting wins against those quality opponents. But I feel like this could be a little switch here. I kind of agree with you. They're playing better football. Maybe the Chargers, as per usual, a little bit banged up come this time of year. So I think I'm going to go with the Broncos as well.
I like your guys' Broncos pick. I have absolutely 0 to lose, so I'm just going to go with the Chargers.
Like it. Yeah. I mean, they could easily pull this one out. It's probably going to be a pretty close game. I just think the momentum that the Broncos have picked up recently hopefully will carry them over. Oh. Next, we got the Houston Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Saturday afternoon football. Chiefs, obviously, it looks like Patrick Mahomes is going to be in line to play, despite a devastating injury this past week. That the entire football world was just shaking in their boots, wondering if he was going to be okay. And
I'm surprised they didn't have to amputate.
you're telling me, man. I mean, it was. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Uh, he was a full participant in practice today, so I really don't know what to make of it anymore.
And yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, either he is just tends to exaggerate expeditiously, or his ligaments and bones are just made of rubber. I'm not sure, but either way, do what?
Or it could be black magic.
That's true. That does seem to be on our side this year. So, yeah, Mahomes looks like he's going to play. Hollywood Brown may be coming back. Chiefs getting healthier by the week, thankfully. And the Texans just have not looked the same recently. They were able to come out with a win over the Dolphins last week, but they still didn't look like their normal dominant selves, only scoring 20 points against a pretty, mediocre Dolphins defense. So kind of surprised they weren't able to put up more against that team. I think the Chiefs end up, probably playing with their food a little bit like they tend to, but I do think they're a much better team than the Texans at this point. So they should come out with a victory, but it's going to be a way closer game than it probably should be again. Unless Mahomes doesn't play, then it's all bets are off.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I do have concerns. Obviously, the sort of weak part of the Texans is that O-line, especially in that pass game, struggling to keep pressure off of Stroud. The problem is the Chiefs, without the exception of a play here and there from Chris Jones, refuse to be able to get any pressure just rushing forward. They have to bring more. They have to blitz. So I don't know if we have the talent to be able to, force the issue with just bringing four and really kind of make CJ Stroud uncomfortable. But I will still take the Chiefs in this game, and it will be closer than it should be.
I agree. It might be closer than it should be, just the way your guys' season has been. To be honest, I think it's going to be just whatever offense can squeak out a little bit more. I honestly think your guys' defense might tear them up. Just the way the Texans have been. That's just that. I mean, that O-line. Mixon, is Joe Mixon healthy and everything? I saw he was on like an injury report. Hold on. He was limited the past couple of days because of an ankle. If that carries over or acts up at all during the game, I think he's going to have a problem already with your guys' defense. But if it's not him, it's going to be non-existent. So I think it might, score-wise, might seem a little closer than it needs to be, but I have a feeling it's going to feel pretty one-sided for the Chiefs most of the game, simply off your guys' defense. That's what I think.
We got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Baltimore Ravens. AFC North matchup that could go a long way in deciding who wins this division. Baltimore needs to make up a little bit of ground here, but if they win this game, I believe they're tied with you on the season series, right? Because you have to play them again.
Well, yeah.
Or okay,
we split the season series, but they still are going to have to hope that we lose one more game.
Okay. So So you would still have the division tiebreaker then.
Yeah, because it's weird. It goes down to like a third tiebreaker if we were to lose this and win out both of us the rest of the year. And we beat them. So. Well,
then in that case, I mean, if the Ravens lose this game, it's probably all but wraps for them.
If Steelers win, they're the champs. They lock it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like officially.
Mm.
Okay. So yeah, then it is officially wraps for the Ravens if the Steelers were to win this week. On the division title, obviously they're probably still going to make the playoffs as a wild card, but it could be a huge detriment to the Ravens if they were to end up having to play, on the road all the way through the playoffs. Definitely not something they probably expected with adding Derrick Henry this offseason, but Steelers have really just looked incredible. Offense obviously is really kind of caught up to the defense as far as production goes. Defense has always been great, but now the offense is kind of matching them on the other side of the football. The Ravens have been weird to me. It really depends if they want to play. If they play into their identity of being a run-first football team, they could beat anybody. But sometimes they just pass the ball a little too much, and that's not even me saying Lamar Jackson can't be a good passer, because he's obviously shown that he can be a successful passer. But this team is more successful when they're running the football with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson first, and then playing off the play action after that, and so on and so forth. So if they do that, I think they can win this game. But I don't think they're going to do that, because against stiff competition, they always seem to want to, I go for the throat or something. I don't know. Their mentality changes, and they seem to want to throw the ball more against these, playoff contenders than they do against these, the other teams in the league. So I think the Steelers are going to tough one out here, sweep the Ravens on the season, and clinch AFC North division title with a win here.
Yeah, the problem is with the Steelers, they're missing two of their most important players.
Yeah.
T.J. Watt and George Pickens, both, either not participating or limited participants in practice so far this week. And the unfortunate thing is they're not really in a position to sit out to just kind of wait another week. Got the Ravens this week, not an easy matchup. Chiefs next week, not an easy matchup. Bengals, record isn't great, but that offense is certainly
we do not care.
Certainly nothing to raise your nose at. But so they've got quite a mean little stretch here to sort of finish this season out. You can it's not going to be pretty, but you can survive without TJ Watt. I think the real problem is George Pickens. Without him being out there, that really you don't have that guy that really spaces the field and opens it up for everybody else. And you kind of saw evidence of that last week in the Eagles game. So I think I'm going to lean on the Ravens this week to get it done and sort of keep the fight for the division alive. And if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm a little bit worried with how this season could end.
I don't hate a lot of what you said, other than worried about how the season should end. I don't think we need to worry about that.
I mean, you're going to make the playoffs, but as far as, getting that high favorable matchup, high seed favorable matchup.
Absolutely true. But the way they played against Philadelphia last week, it's not going to matter, because that was just a terrible showing overall. That was real disappointing. We got worked all 4 quarters up and down the field. I mean, Philly had a 10-minute, 21-play drive to not even score, just to end the game, just to kill the clock. You said we can survive without TJ Watt. I don't think you understand that in our entire time with having TJ Watt as a Pittsburgh Steeler, we are 1-10 without him. We don't win without TJ Watt on the field almost ever. And that win was 2022. So, yeah. I'm going to take the Steelers because I trust our team just still more than Baltimore. And it's fuck Baltimore anyways at the end of the day. So I'm not going to pick Baltimore. I think they'll flinch before we do with or without TJ Watt. But I am concerned about no George Pickens, because we got nobody after George Pickens. And Pat Freiermuth is his own thing because he's a tight end.
Hines Ward's not walking through that door.
Man, did that offense look. That
Lynn
thing showed flashes
not walking through that door.
of years when George Pickens was not on that field last game. That was tough. So, if we don't have George Pickens this week, I think that's going to be the problem, because I think that Ravens defense is going to pin their ears back and go just all-out attack on us.
Yeah, I think your running game is going to be enough to keep you in the game, and hopefully you can seal it at the end. Thankfully,
they still don't want to work. That's why. They're
Yeah,
not going. They're
yeah.
not.
Well, I
gonna
mean, the
want
Ravens
it.
haven't been good against, like, their defense hasn't been that great. It's picked up a lot these last few weeks, but yeah, at the beginning of the season they weren't great. So I could see them maybe being a little bit vulnerable to the run, especially if they think you're going to be, you're going to have to, if they think that you think that you're going to have to throw it more, maybe catch them off guard, hand it off.
It's also AFC North, so this everything we just said could absolutely be irrelevant. And
Absolutely.
who knows what happens, and specifically a Ravens Steelers game.
Well, Steelers kind of have Lamar's number historically, so I'm also kind of going off that.
Well, also you saying you're 1-10 without T.J. Watt. That was before you had Danger Russ. All right.
That's true.
New Steelers, baby.
It's
So we
spicy.
got Mr. Unlimited.
Careful. It's
And
spicy.
he'll go out there and play outside rusher if we need him to.
All right, next we got a battle between the other two AFC North teams. We got the Cleveland Browns taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are clinging on to any semblance of playoff hopes, I think, technically still. But a loss here would eliminate them officially. So, and maybe even if some other teams just win, they might be eliminated officially. So definitely going to be a desperate team coming into this game. The Browns are starting Thompson Robinson. Is that Dorian Thompson Robinson? They have completely given up on Jameis Winston at this point. The Bengals offense is on fire. The Browns defense is still not, even with some good players over on that side of the football. They just have not been playing well. So I think the Bengals should come out with a pretty easy victory here. The Browns have kind of folded on the season, I think.
Yeah, I think this switch to DTR is sort of the sign of, all right, this season's over.
Yeah.
I don't think he's better than Jameis Winston.
No.
Granted, Jameis has turnover problems, but this is all right. Let's just punt this season, get a good draft pick, see if we can get a guy, and then move on.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you. I think it might be close because it's a NFC or AFC North matchup, but I think the Bengals should slaughter them.
Yeah, Myles Garrett could still end up with 5 sacks somehow, though. Next, we got the New York Giants taking on the Atlanta Falcons, and the Falcons' season is on life support as they have officially made the change from Kirk Cousins to rookie Michael Penix, just throwing him immediately into the fire with playoff hopes on the line. Because if they lose here and the Bucs win, it's basically all but over. I'm surprised that they're going to Penix in this fashion. Seems like they're putting a lot of pressure on the kid out the gate. Especially considering you didn't feel like he was good enough to start day one. But now, I guess because you need to see some Kirk Cousins, but I don't know, late 30s quarterback coming off an Achilles injury, maybe just don't sign Kirk in the first place. Crazy idea, but maybe an option. So yeah, Penix going up against a pretty tough defense despite the record over there in New York. They do have some good pieces on the defensive side of the football. I'm going to go with the Falcons just because they're a better team. I hope Penix shows out. But I've got a feeling they're going to rely heavily on the run game here, especially, having 2 pretty good backs. One really good back in Bijan Robinson, and then another pretty good back in Tyler Algier. I think they're going to lean on the run game a lot, maybe hand it off 35 times even total. And Michael Penix probably won't be asked to do a whole lot, but I also don't think he's going to make any crucial mistakes. So give me Atlanta.
I know it wasn't that long ago, but that's where Penix made his money in college, was play action. I mean, super accurate, especially down the field. So I think this Falcons offense is set up beautifully for him. I think he comes up and he absolutely balls out and surprises a lot of people and absolutely sort of dismantles the Giants, in part to the effectiveness of their run game.
I like the take on you saying he's gonna go crazy, because then it's gonna be fun to see if that happens. It's gonna have you questioning. Then it's gonna have teams questioning who drafted quarterbacks this past year, like with current rookies, or coming up, who could have possibly had him. But I was just looking at the over under for the game. It's 42.5 points. which was kind of weird. Or sorry, not over the spread. Yeah, spread 8.5. But I was looking at that only because both teams have only scored, I think, 20 points once in the last 5 weeks. And so I think this could be an ugly game. But I'm still going to take the Falcons because I think everything Burke said about Kirk Cousins, like why sign him and everything, I get. But at this point in the season, it's 7-7. You're not going to go on a Super Bowl run. I think they've accepted that. You have a young core with Drake London and Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts, and so why not get your quarterback who's on a rookie contract in there and maybe just start seeing what you have with him at least before you go into the offseason. But I do agree with Burke. Then why sign him? Because you just did that for now to still have however much of $100 million that you
got 3 years
guaranteed him.
left. I think 65 if you cut him before June 1st in dead money.
Yeah, see, like you're eating that. Now it's looking like the Broncos somewhat situation if you decide to cut him or you're paying an expensive backup. So they screwed themselves. But as for Penix, I see this as a win-win if he has some rough games. Hey, no, so what? At least you get your feet wet before next year. And then, I mean, like Aaron said, he is set up really well, though, too. So, but Caleb Williams was also set up as the best, situation for a rookie quarterback. We see how that's panned out.
I just hope...
Weapons-wise.
I just hope that he doesn't go out there, put up a stinker in his first game, and gets yanked Kirk Cousins back in there for Week 17.
No, if they need to just, this is it. If they're going with Penix, it needs to just, we're going to ride it out with him the rest of the year and deal with everything else in the offseason.
Maybe a QB battle at the beginning of next season, but you can't go back and forth at this point.
Hey, you got nothing to worry about because he's not going to throw up a stinker.
I hope not. He was my favorite coming out.
We need another lefty in the league, man. I'm here for it. Come on. The last lefty in Atlanta was pretty electric, if I remember correctly.
That's true. That's true. It was. Unless there was some weird, 2-game starter there in between.
There's another person we don't know. Then
that's
all Falcons fans probably know.
Yeah, they know who you're talking about. Next, we got the Detroit Lions taking on the Chicago Bears in a NFC North matchup where the Lions losing their grip on the division title with the Vikings, right on their tail, now tied 12-2. A win here would obviously be huge for them going. I think they play one more time in Week 18, if I'm not mistaken, the Lions and Vikings. So it could end up coming down to that game at the end of the year. But to get there, Lions got to win this one, and the Vikings got to win whenever their game is. Lions should win. The Bears have looked terrible as of late. Caleb Williams, he's doing the best he can, but the offensive line's giving him no time. He's also, showing some rookie mistakes here and there. I don't want to put all the blame on the line, but large portion of it probably safe to put on the offensive line. Wide receivers haven't been as healthy or been, when they are healthy, separating as much on the field as you would like to. Mainly talking about Keenan Allen, but I don't know what you expect when you trade for a 33-year-old wide receiver. DJ Moore, on the other hand, has been fine. Rome Odunze's showed some flashes. But, yeah, that Bears team just is not good right now, and the Lions should steamroll them. So.
Yeah, and that defense is especially fallen apart these last couple weeks since they fired Eberflus, which is to be expected when you've got that much coaching turnover that quickly. So Lions.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It's the Lions for sure. One thing I do want to say though is Caleb Williams right now is projected to finish worse than Justin Fields' stats, I guess, last year. This is something I saw. It might not even be accurate.
Yeah.
But I'm not putting this on Caleb Williams. I'm not even going to put it necessarily on the O-line or nothing because, he's a rookie, he's a young kid. I still am rooting for him, for sure out of USC. But it's time to start looking at the higher ups. It's time to start looking at the GMs, the VPs, and starting to look at those people. You're about to have 2 super talented quarterbacks, and Justin Fields, with a small sample this year, already showed he looked way better than he ever did in Chicago.
Yeah.
So it might be an organization problem, and I think it's starting to show even more as time keeps going.
Yeah, I mean, I said at the beginning of the season that I wish they would have moved on to a they would have brought in a new head coach with Caleb Williams instead of trying to give Eberflus a year because it didn't even last a year. They ended up already. He's going to be on his second coach or third technically if you count the interim. Before he's even halfway through his second season. So
And if it goes bad next year, the GM will be the one that'll be up there, and he'll be up there with.
he
a new
should
coach.
be,
Yeah.
in my opinion, he should already be gone. But I digress.
That's what a lot of the people are saying, that his time should be up. But if they don't switch it now, everyone's just waiting for the next mess up.
Next, we got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Game that really doesn't mean a whole lot, especially if the Colts lose this one, but I don't think they will because the Titans are really bad. So I'm going to go Colts here, but don't really have much to say about this game. Hopefully, Donnie Mitchell doesn't throw an interception or pick six, I guess, because technically it was pick six like he did last week. He's getting torn down for that in the Colts fan base. Like the Colts fans are kind of turning on AD Mitchell right now, and I don't really like it because he's got drafted to a team with 3 talented wide receivers. Like he's not going to get a whole lot of opportunities. So if he does fuck up the small sample size that he gets, it's going to look bad. I don't really think that's fair to him, especially with how bad the quarterback play has been for the majority of the season.
And with a quarterback that isn't very accurate.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really, I don't like the shit that AD Mitchell's getting right now, but still going to take the Colts in this game. Hopefully, maybe he can. I don't know. Hopefully, he can bounce back.
I'm going to take Will Levis and the Titans to throw up an absolute wondrous performance in another example of, yet again, how you can make a game super entertaining by turning the ball over.
Oh, okay.
Will Levis, by the way.
Gotcha. You had me in the first half, not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, the Colts are far and away the better team. I'm excited to see how Will Levis turns the ball over this week. It's like it's a new way every week.
Dude, I haven't really kept up with them ever since they got 5 games under 500. Has he been continuing to do that?
Yeah, it was just more so the volume. Three interceptions with his ex-girlfriend in attendance last week. Just
yeah, I've noticed no new mayonnaise commercials this year.
I saw one last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them since like the beginning of the season, so I just assume that they stopped doing
that. Yeah, my pick, I'm actually going to go with Tennessee on this.
Oh.
Will Levis benched this week. They're going with Mason Rudolph.
Oh, damn.
And then Aaron's comment about AD Mitchell not having a very accurate, I would like to say a not accurate quarterback. Anthony Richardson's down at 47% for the season.
Yeah.
With 7 touchdowns, 11 picks. I mean, the guy, they're throwing the ball. The way it's looking, all the receivers are just throwing the ball to each other right now, and they're just...
He's throwing the ball to anybody but his team.
So, yeah.
The sideline, the end zone.
I'm going with because I need whatever I can get.
The fans.
Jonathan Taylor dropping the ball before the end zone last week.
Oh, brutal, man. That's brutal. Hate to see it from their best player on your team, too. By far the best player on your team.
I saw a guy missed out on $40,000
Yeah.
because he dropped the ball at the 1 or something. I think it was 40,000. It was something crazy.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's brutal. Bad beat for sure.
You know what's cooler than dropping the ball right as you run into the end zone?
Dropping it after you
Scoring a touchdown. Making sure you score a touchdown. That's what's remembered. People don't look back. How many times did you drop the ball a yard into the end zone?
Like oh, that was
so
cool.
Touchdown.
He dropped it as he entered the end zone. What a badass.
That's one thing I will never understand.
I don't get it either. Like, why? What do you gain from like dropping it?
I think it's their version. It's their version of like a walk-off home run or like a buzzer beater shot, even though it's not a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
It's just like that put it up and then just walk it off like nothing happened type thing. But it don't work out.
Next, we got the Los Angeles Rams taking on the New York Jets. The Rams, right back in the playoff hunt, have been for a couple weeks, but now they've really asserted themselves on a little bit of a win streak now. A big, win a couple weeks ago against the Bills, and then knocking off the Niners last week. Beat a couple. Well, the Niners are supposed to be a good team. They're just hurt literally everywhere imaginable. Yeah, I mean the Rams probably should win this game. The Jets really don't have much to play for. Rams are fighting for their playoff lives at this point. Have a head start on the rest of the division right now. Well, really just the Cardinals and the Seahawks at this point, but they got the tiebreaker of the Seahawks at the moment. Game up on the Cardinals, so win here would go a long way in them winning the NFC West. I think that's exactly what they do here. So go Rams.
Yeah, this could really come down to the last game of the season. They face off one more time,
Seahawks,
week 18.
Rams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Rams in this as well. Jets just look like dog shit all season, if we're being honest.
They almost lost to the Jags.
Rams are right on this this playoff push here, so I'll take the team with something to fight for.
Nothing to lose. Give me the Jets.
Woo!
Hey, I like the Rams. The Rams are way better, but why not?
Let's go Jets. Let's go Jets.
Aaron Rodgers. There's some drama stirring up. I don't know if you guys have seen anything about that.
I have not.
Mm-hmm. I guess there's a little thing going on with him and Ryan Clark. I guess Pat McAfee's involved in it just because, it was on his show. I don't know if it's as big as it really is. I just saw like little reports that like Rodgers or Ryan Clark responds to Aaron Rodgers. So
Wow.
I'd assume that was a good response.
Any way to stay relevant, Next we got.
Hey, his new Netflix series just dropped.
Oh, did it?
Yep. I am actually going to watch it though. I want to see.
Next we got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Washington Commanders. Commanders need to win some games here down the stretch to make the playoffs. It looked like they were all but certain, and then all of a sudden they dropped a few games. Eagles go on a massive winning streak, and here we are. Eagles 3 games over the Commanders, and Commanders really just have to hope they can get a wild card spot at this point. I think the Eagles win this game. They are just playing some of the best football in the entire league right now. They might be the hottest team in the NFL at this moment. Offense is firing on all cylinders. Defense is playing well above what we expected at the beginning of the year. Those rookies have really stepped up in the secondary specifically. Those other youngsters who've been around for a few years finally starting to mature and play up to their potential. This Eagles team just seems like a freight train running off the tracks right now. And I think they should steamroll over the Commanders here. So, give me Philly.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Philly as well. They're just so deep in that secondary that I don't think the Commanders have the receiving weapons to... Huh?
Can we have one of them? Just like one guy? Take CJ.
I really... Any of them?
Yeah, like it's literally anyone.
Yeah, I don't think the Commanders really have the wide receiver depth to cause significant problems for the Eagles. So yeah, give me Philly.
Berg, how many games am I behind again? You remember? Are you even close?
From Aaron or me?
About either one. I know it's a gap between both.
From me, you're 3. From Aaron, you're 8.
Yeah, see, that's what I expected. Everything you guys said makes sense for the Eagles. Even last week, I mean, the Steelers held the Eagles to 3 yards a game or 3 yards per rush. Sorry, did our job, and then people were trying to pick at Jalen Hurts in the passing game, and he only went out there and picked us apart. I think had like 6 incompletions. AJ Brown, they did everything right that they needed to, even without their super stout run game. As at least compared to the past weeks. Since I'm 8 games, I'm 3 behind Burke. I really don't care. So give me Washington. Jaden Daniels just pulled off some kind of weird upset in Washington to make everyone start to question Philly one last time before the playoffs.
I like it. Good script writing. Next, we got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Carolina Panthers. a lot of what I said about the Rams earlier kind of is also rings true for the Cardinals, but even more severe, a little bit more panic over there in Arizona as they're sitting at 7-7, game back for the division, and I believe they already lost the tiebreaker to Seattle. Although they do have a chance to win the tiebreaker over the Rams with a game left to play against them. So we could end up with a three-way tie in the NFC West between the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Cardinals, all of which have a tiebreaker over the other. So like the Cardinals would have one over the Rams, but the Rams would have one over the Seahawks, but the Seahawks would have one over the Cardinals. So that could be really fun, and I really hope that happens. So give me the Cardinals in this one, but also just because they're a better team. So yeah, Arizona.
Yeah, I mean the Panthers have shown some fight, these last few weeks, but I still don't think they're good enough to sort of really be a big threat to the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are a good enough team where they should handle the Panthers pretty easily. So I'll take the Cardinals.
And it's been fun watching what the Panthers have a little bit of fight, seeing Bryce Young having a little bit of success compared to what he's had to deal with this year. But yeah.
Next, we're at the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Vikings obviously fighting for that number one seed in the NFC now between the Eagles and the Lions. Have to jump the Lions in the division first, but all three of those teams are sitting at 12-2, so it's a huge game for the Vikings. Also a huge game for the Seahawks. Like I said about the Cardinals and the Rams for them. Battle for the NFC West between those three teams. If Seattle loses here and Arizona wins, all of a sudden they're tied. But Seattle does have the tiebreaker over them. But then if the Rams win, the Rams would be a game ahead of those two teams. So that could get a little weird. But I think the Vikings probably end up coming out on top here. Seahawks, they've been too inconsistent for me this season. Vikings have been pretty steady through and through, especially on the defensive side of the football. I think that defense is going to cause some problems for Geno Smith. And is Kenneth Walker going to be back this week, or are they still going with Zach Charbonnet?
He was a non-participant at practice today.
Okay, I don't think it really matters one way or the other, but especially if Kenneth Walker's out, I don't see the Seahawks having much path to victory here. So I'm going to go Minnesota. Offense probably won't have to do a whole lot because the defense should be pretty stout.
Yeah, and the good news is Geno Smith isn't on the injury report, so he should be good to go for this game, which makes it more interesting. With that being said, I'm being honest, I didn't really hear who you picked, Burke. So I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Okay.
Huh?
I want Vikings.
Did you say Vikings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wasn't super impressed with the Seahawks team that I saw against the Packers.
Yeah.
And I think that's just sort of the story of their season, not super consistent offensive side of the ball. So I'll take Justin Jefferson to go out and have a day against Seattle and really stay in contention to overtake that Lions team.
I'm with you. Big emphasis on Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. We need a big week out of the boys for fantasy championship purposes.
Oh yeah, Joe.
Maybe Charbonnet too.
At the same time, if Walker wants to stay out and Charbonnet wants to be healthy and pop off, by himself, that's totally fine too. That'd be strongly encouraged, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I'm a ride with the Vikings. Especially if is Geno out? Did you say that?
He said Geno's
No,
in.
he wasn't even on the injury report. So,
Oh,
which is weird. Like, why didn't he come back in?
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess he must have some of that Mahomes magic working for him right now with these injuries. So if that's the case, if you got that state, then we need to be looking at the Seahawks for this game. So, yeah. Vikings easy.
Next, we got the New England Patriots taking on the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills should win
I
this.
mean,
Bills should win this game
Round
because
this up.
you can say, do we even
Round it
need?
to the ground.
yeah. We can speed this
The
along.
guys,
We've been
I think
going.
it's fair to chalk up the Bills for 3 wins here to in this season. I mean, it's a pretty cupcake schedule.
Is it? I know the Jets are in there. Who else is in there? The who?
Patriots, Jets, Patriots.
Oh, that's right. The Pats twice. That's right. Yeah. Well, congrats to the Bills on your top 2 seed. Not sure if you're going to be 1 or 2 yet, but you're definitely going to be one of those 2. So. Next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Las Vegas Raiders in a game that means absolutely nothing outside of draft positioning. Man, I don't know. I'm going to go with the Jaguars just because they've showed a little bit of fight on the offensive side of the football. Brian Thomas Jr.'s at least been able to get loose a couple times, and they almost beat the Jets last week, which was kind of fun, even with Mac Jones under center. So, yeah, give me the Jaguars because the Raiders are probably the worst team in the league, and they might prove that case here these last few weeks.
I'm gonna go with the team that I am rooting for to win this game.
Okay, gotcha. So you're going
So,
Raiders.
I'm going with the Raiders because if they win this game, they will no longer be in the number 1 seed as of yet. They will have a better record, assuming that the Giants lose. So I'm going to root as hard as I can for the Raiders to screw this up yet again.
Don't throw up too much.
That's a tough and ugly football game, ain't it? Yeah, let's go. Let's go Jaguars simply off. I think that their weapons might be able to pop something off randomly and pull it out.
Brian Thomas Jr. gets 2 touchdowns, and that's all they need.
Or Brock Bowers goes for 180 and 2
True.
touchdowns and wins it all for the Raiders.
Ooh, this could be a battle for Rookie of the Year, low key. Because I mean, they're no, because it's gonna be Jaden Daniels, but non-quarterback Rookie of the Year, probably a battle between those 2 top candidates right here. So.
You remember who I threw out there?
As Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, that wasn't quarterback.
Oh, yeah, you said Brian Thomas Jr., dark horse, yeah, and he's probably leading the non-quarterback race right now. So, I was looking at rookie wide receiver stats earlier because some Chiefs troll said that Xavier Worthy's been by far the best rookie receiver, and I had to check that. I was like, no, he's not. Right? There's no way. You've got to be lost.
Not even close.
Yeah, it's not even
Not
close.
even close.
There's like 5 guys. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Brock Bowers, not even a receiver.
Lad McConkey, Brock Bowers, if you want to throw him in there, yeah.
Even Marvin Harrison Jr. is not even in the conversation either.
I mean, he's better than Worthy, though, statistically, receiving-wise.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Prove my point.
Next, we got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Miami Dolphins. Game between 2 teams kind of clinging on for playoff hopes, but they're both of them are kind of dashed already, especially if a couple teams win this week. So, probably looking at 2 top end of the, or like right around the cut line for the playoffs this season. I mean, they're both kind of similar stories, right? Injuries kind of ruined any chance they had at being legitimate contenders this year. Defense hasn't been playing up to the level that they would like. Kind of both mirroring each other to an extent, except, Niners have lost everything but their quarterback. I think actually Purdy was out for a game or 2. Dolphins have lost their quarterback for a large portion of the year. And so both of them, just trying to stay healthy, I would think, is both their number 1 goals at this point. I think we're going to take the Niners just because I think they have slightly more talent. I think the defense is slightly better, even if they haven't really been this year specifically. But I think that if the Dolphins struggle to score against who they played this past week, they played somebody who they should have been able to score against. Spacing on it. Who did play?
Texans.
Texans. Yeah, I feel like if the Dolphins can't really score more than 12 points against the Texans, they're probably going to struggle against the Niners similarly. So I'm going to San Francisco here. And, I mean, this game, like I said, this game doesn't really matter as far as playoff implications go.
Well, I mean, 49ers only put up, 6 points against the
This is true.
Rams?
It's true.
So this could be another no points game. We could
That'd
have
be fun.
another 12-6 game.
Hell yeah. That's fun. No touchdowns. Who needs them?
It feels like every time I pick either one of these teams, they lose. You went with the Niners?
Yeah. Kind of a coin toss, I feel like. This might be our biggest coin toss of the week.
I'll go with Miami. Make it different. I don't like
Yeah.
it. I don't like either of these teams.
An ugly year. I was big rooting for Miami as the top team at the beginning of the year.
I thought they were going to make the
Even
playoffs.
with Tua back, it's been tough. But I'm still gonna take Miami because I like them. The one thing I'll say, I'll talk to you guys about it later, but that, according to a few things that articles I read, I guess Frisco fans are starting to question Brock Purdy now. Wonder if he's the guy. I don't know about everybody. I don't know if that's the majority. I saw like 2 articles and a couple of comments, but it's gonna be a little ridiculous if they're gonna start doing that BS. But yeah.
I would just like to say I've been saying this. I've been saying that about Brock Purdy for a while now. Niners fans are telling
Yeah, I
me,
still
like,
think-
oh no, he's the GOAT.
I still think it's right. I think it's wrong to question it. though, now.
I think so too. It's funny how quick people are to turn. It's
But
crazy.
yeah, when it's good, it's great. When
Yeah.
it's bad, we hate them.
Yeah.
I mean, look at us. We stand by Mahomes.
You'd be
He
subdued.
sucked
Go
this
look at
year.
Chiefs Twitter. It is crazy how many Chiefs fans are putting him down though. It's wild. It's so gross. Next we have the Tampa Bay Bucks taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Bucks are playing some of their last week they played some of their best football ever. Kind of been up and down all season long, but I think they might be on the right track now. Baker Mayfield hates Texas, so I think that'll motivate him a little bit to beat the good old Dallas Cowboys. Probably a team he rooted for growing up, but ever since Texas Tech kicked him out and he had to go up to Oklahoma, I'm sure he's changed his ways and fuck the star. So I'm gonna go the Bucks here. I think Baker's gonna come out with his hair on fire. He's probably gonna talk some shit, and I guess he's got his buddy CeeDee Lamb on the other side though, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, for some reason, Dallas sucked at home. Maybe it's because they can't see to catch the ball.
Other
But they're
teams
1-6 at home, and I'm pretty sure they struggled at home last year too. So maybe
The sun, it plays a factor.
Hey, but it's a night game.
AT&T Stadium is cursed.
It's a night game.
Maybe the lights.
The moon will get to them somehow.
Stars. The
Yeah.
Big Dipper. Oh.
That's what they call their fans. I'll go with the Bucks in this one.
Yep.
Finally, we got our Monday Night Football matchup between the New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers. Packers should run away with this game, although Clyde Edwards-Helaire, after getting cut by the Chiefs, has signed with his hometown New Orleans Saints. Shout out to him. Hopefully he gets some reps before the end of the year, if he's, ready to do so. But I'm glad somebody picked him up. Kind of sucks that I don't really know why the Chiefs cut him. Or did we pick somebody up in his place? Was there a reason we
Well, I
cleared him?
mean, we don't really have the luxury of having a bunch of roster spots to have people not play on. We're pretty banged up, so we need all the depth we can
Yeah.
get.
That's fair. It just
Playoff
sucks to
run.
see, because I feel like he wasn't playing more so because of personal reasons than anything. So it just sucks to see us cut him. But I'm glad the team picked him up. So shout out to him. But the Packers should win this game because they're a much better team.
Yeah, I mean, Packers all the way. It'd be fun to see Alvin Kamara put on a show,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It really
Kamara.
would. It
Josh
really
Jacobs.
would be, especially this week. It would be real nice to see that happen.
Yep. I bet it would, Jim.
real star-studded running back matchup here with Josh Jacobs and Alvin Kamara. That'd be real fun to watch them duke it out.
Yeah, I think. I also think that the Packers wide receivers are going to be able to run rough shot against that Saints secondary that is basically non-existent at this point with no, fucking what's his name?
Lattimore.
Yeah, thank you. No Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, they really don't have a ton of threats back there anymore. So could be a big game for Jordan Love as well. Well, unless y'all got anything else. I think that'll do it for this episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Zuckerberg Burkle, here with the coast today, Aaron and Joe. Go and say bye, guys.
Bye.
Alright, please make sure to like and subscribe if you made it this far into the video. Make sure to comment down below what you think of our predictions for this week. And other than that, deuces. Have a good day.